all the import codes on laptops and printers and mobiles and etc. etc. This is a story that has gone back and forth. This is a story that people say that like, are we going to get laptops tomorrow or not? Where are things right now? Do I need to call my cousin in Dubai to get laptops right now? This is where things are right now. Because I, for one, for sure, now I know that there is October 31st deadline, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
October 31st deadline for big laptop, mobile, tablet companies to stop importing from wherever they're importing.
That's right. So 1st November, so they can continue importing till 31st of October. 1st November is when the new rule kicks in, wherein there is going to be a license required from the government of India to import laptops. The government has said there is not going to be any restriction on the quantity of laptops there is, but the government is going to be chary in issuing licenses where the importer has to very clearly define where the importer is importing from, which part of the world, and the government is going to insist on importing only from trusted partners, trusted partner companies. But now there's a twist in the tail, and the twist in the tail suggests, and these are reports, in fact, it came out in the Times of India today, a source-driven story that we read this morning, where there could be a similar import curb even on cameras, even on other such devices, printers, which are not directly laptops. But I think Amit has been reading that story, and Amit has been working on,
let's get Amit
putting that story
very
together.
Good morning.
Hi, Amit.
Join us and tell us more, Amit. What exactly is going on?
Graphics on.
So right, we'll get the graphics on.
Through the list. It's a long list.
Yes,
oh my God, it's a long list. My God.
Cameras, printers, hard disk, telephonic and telegraphic devices may also be included.
What are telegraphic devices? Do we still have telegraphic devices? I'm not sure.
Probably they're used in industry.
Fax machines?
Yeah.
Are these fax machines?
Exactly. Okay. One and probably more bigger industries. This thing. Already PCs and laptops are there. The imports of these goods had crossed 10.08 billion in FY 2023.
That's a huge number, Krishna.
That's a huge number.
Laptop imports, laptops, tablets, and what is the third item? PCs,
yes.
Obviously. Right. Laptops, PCs, and tablets had an import value of $8.8 billion. We are talking about cameras and printers and telephones and telegraphic equipment and what else? All of this combined to about $10.08 billion.
It was up 16.5% from the previous year. So it's quite, and the amount of dent it was giving to the current account deficit also went up 2% in FY23. It was only 1.2% in FY22. So all those, it is basically a fillip towards manufacturing that the government seems to be aiming towards. There are more goods if the next graphic can come in. Apart from electronics, urea, antibiotics, turbojets, lithium-ion accumulators are under review. Refined copper, machines, mechanical appliances, solar and photovoltaic cells. I believe these things will be used in AI and things of that sort. All of them, a huge list of goods that are under review for import curbs. Cashew nuts, sunflower. Sunflower, of course, with the war going on, that was already under. So probably they're promoting domestic agriculture in that. Total merchandise, as I said, rose 16.5%. It was a whopping figure of north of $700 billion this year. As I said, it dented 2% of the GDP in the current account deficit. It was 1.2% last year.
Are we living in a globalized world anymore, Krishna? I mean, so many curbs, and not just import curbs, even export curbs. I mean, India not wanting to export rice.
Yes.
Right. So I don't know. It just.
I think it's. Karthik, if you ask me, it's a sort of a recalibration of the kind of globalization that we need going forward. Because you need domestic economies to be protected. You're seeing everybody do it. You're seeing the US do it. You're seeing China. China is the epitome of how to protect your local economy. US turning around and saying that, hey, you guys charge too much tariff. You can't come inside my country.
The more we change, the more we stay the same. I mean, we went from protectionism, license Raj, to globalization, and now we are completing.
Now we are a global village, Karthik. We are global, but we have the mindset or the mentality of coming from a little village.
If you allow me an analogy, US did the same, and if we remember, the great Lee Iacocca was against the Japanese cars way back in the 70s, dumping their stuff in the US, and therefore import duties went up over there. So probably India is following the
I
same.
know, anti-dumping, I feel, is a very different story. It's not that we are just picking up rags from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
We are talking about laptops and PCs and cameras and DSLRs. I mean, pretty much the stuff that we use every day here in office, back at home.
Yeah,
Right.
but now the government wants them to be manufactured here.
Sure,
So-
but then
so that
shouldn't
flip is
the
coming.
focus be on, in
first-
any case, making the industry competitive enough to compete globally without protectionism?
Well,
So pull from one side, push from another side.
That's an
China
that's
did that.
That's an
China did that. We might want to say that China added protectionism, but China was able to create efficiency. China was able, and Japan did it. Taiwan has done it with semiconductors. There are enough and more examples. South Korea has done
True,
it.
true.
There are enough and more examples within Asia. I'm not even talking Europe and US and developed first world economies, but within Asia, there have been enough and more instances where without protectionism, industries have been made to compete globally on product, on price, on efficiency, and have become suppliers to the world. What are we trying to do here? And, is there not going to be any retaliation from the rest of the world? You stop importing from them, their exports go down. What you produce in India, will you ever be able to sell to them?
I believe
That'll
the
be-
retaliation
that's
will
a-
come-
We are seeing that between China and US, right?
Already,
US is
already.
not exporting
Already.
NVIDIA fabs and chips to China, and
Already.
China is saying, hey, go to hell, you can't take raw material from me.
Karthik, the only thing is that I think of this, we get electronics and cars from South Korea. So I think South Korea is going to turn around and say after a point, if you're going to import that much, that little DSLRs from us, buy that many more cars from us if it's possible. But the fact of the
But
matter
those
is that
cars also have to be made in India, right?
Exactly,
Otherwise, you
yes.
pay 60% import duty. So
absolutely,
they are
Karthik
investing
picked
in
up on a
India, making in
very
India.
rich line of thought, which is the debate over protectionism and the way protectionism is played out in global economies in the last 2 to 3 decades. There are both pros and cons of protectionism, and even as India sets out on this path of protectionism, it has to be careful that it is not lowering its own companies' competitiveness, because market forces are the actual are the real forces that really determine your survival, and you do what you do to survive, and then survival of the fittest, and then your product is the fittest in the world. That's the usual logic. We'll have to wait and watch how this is going to go out, how we're going to make DSLR cameras in India that are world class, beating Sony cameras from Japan. Maybe one fine day that will happen, Karthik. I'm hoping, fingers crossed for that, but that's a long way away.